Hey guys! Today we are literally cracking the code to achieving caramel strawberries. Have you ever tried them out and wondered, what am I doing wrong? And why in the world do they look like this? This caramel recipe hardens to the perfect shiny shell that is sturdy and durable for dipping strawberries, and I show you all the tips and tricks to make them last the longest they can without sliding off the berry for a strawberry success instead of a strawberry fail. So to get the same successful no-fail results, be sure to watch this full tutorial until the end. The 4 ingredients you will need are brown sugar, corn syrup, heavy cream, and butter. And I recommend that your brown sugar is the light brown sugar instead of the dark, being that dark brown sugar contains more molasses. I haven't experimented with how that works on the strawberries, so just stick to the light brown sugar for now. First, I am starting off with my berries being cold. You can wash and dry them as you normally would right before you are ready to make the caramel. Don't wash them too far in advance because we don't want to make the berries mushy. Insert your toothpicks or thin skewers into the center of each berry, and when you have all of them ready, they need to go right back into the fridge. We're going to be making a lot of trips there today, so it is best if you are working close to your fridge, and it is key to dip the berries when they are cold in order for the caramel to cling properly. So let them chill in there while we head over to the stove. For this process, a deep, heavy bottom pot will help to prevent any scorching or overflowing. And to that, pour in 1.5 cups of heavy cream. This achieves a thick, rich coating of caramel on the berry, as well as 2 cups of light brown sugar, 5 tablespoons of butter. If you're using salted, there's no need to add salt. For unsalted, feel free to add a pinch to your liking. And last is 1 cup of light corn syrup. Now it is time to bring this to medium-low heat and stir to combine the mixture with a wooden spoon until the butter is completely melted. This is the only time we are mixing this at all, so give it a good mix. Once all the butter is melted, to ensure there is no crystallizing or burning, I dip a brush into a little bit of water and clean around the edges to remove any sugar that's hanging out there. If you've ever had a grainy caramel before, we definitely don't want that on our berries. This mixture needs to reach 245 degrees for the most accurate temperature. I don't recommend using an infrared thermometer because the steam doesn't generate an accurate reading. Such a big difference, so use a candy thermometer for this part instead. The temperature will linger at around 230 for the longest amount of time, which means lots of bubbling, so feel free to clean the edges with a damp brush as needed, and wait patiently for 245 degrees, which is the softball stage. While you wait, remember not to mix anything, just be patient and keep your eyes glued to the thermometer. The fun part is that we are almost ready to get dipping when the caramel is 245 degrees. Immediately remove from the heat and give it another stir to allow the caramel to cool off to the ideal dipping temperature. Just be careful and expect that first stir will bubble a little bit. If you notice, the consistency will be a lot thinner in the beginning and will gradually start to thicken up as it cools down. To begin dipping, I divide up the caramel into 2 heat-resistant measuring cups. A smaller cup is best for a deeper dip. The ideal temperature range for dipping is 175 to 180 degrees, which I test with an infrared thermometer this time. Since the strawberries are very delicate, the temperature needs to be low enough while still being fluid enough to dip. I pop any unwanted air bubbles with a toothpick and hold the leaves back as I coat the entire strawberry, then come out after a few seconds. The caramel has almost a sticky tail on the back. You want to quickly shake off as much excess as you can, quickly tapping the side of the dipping container as well. And don't be afraid to tap the back tail down with your finger. The caramel will be softened at this point, so you are able to lightly tap it down and clean it up. As you can see, the caramel is very moldable and flexible as it dries, which gives it a cleaner look. Normally, with chocolate covered berries, I place them upright to dry in floral foam. However, in several hours, the gravity will pull all the caramel down and drip everywhere. So instead, place on a silicone mat or parchment paper in the fridge. And after dipping every berry, they need to go in the fridge ASAP. My other tips and tricks are to avoid wiping the back of the berry since it will cause leakage. Instead, use that tapping technique, but be sure to remove as much excess as you can. Leaving too much of the caramel on there causes more of the sliding off the strawberry as hours go on. I will show you what I mean in a moment. Now our caramel berries are complete. Allow them to set for at least 20 minutes in the fridge before gently peeling away from your mat or parchment paper to package or eat. It will also have a hard shell with a sound when you flick with your finger. As for how long they last, strawberries are very delicate and dipping them in a hot caramel causes them to break down even faster than coating in chocolate. To see how they held up, let's compare the results of the homemade version versus recipes I prepared with store-bought products such as Kraft and Werther's Original, which both had the same result by the way. They are convenient, look and taste delicious, but I wanted to share what worked best for me. Here is what I call the strawberry cam to spy on our strawberries. I first dipped these berries in the Werther's Original around 10:20 p.m. Then I checked on them an hour later, and if I flick the shell, it leaves a dent and feels more soft and sticky. Now it's officially 2.5 hours in at 1 a.m. It's starting to do the sliding and taking a dive. You practically see through the caramel already. And the last check is overnight. Take a look at the Werther's caramel I left in the cup. It's still soft without any heating, which is crazy. That's not good for berries at all. For our homemade recipe, I dipped them around 4 p.m. and it is now 5 a.m., which is 13 hours later. They still look pretty good and have their hard shell intact. It's slightly sticky but holds its shape. As you can see, I left a little excess pool of caramel on this one. I found that was the first to go. A lot of you guys have asked me about them sticking. It is now 11 a.m., almost 20 hours from dipping them, and that berry with the pool is going down. I find liners also maintain their shape better, which is convenient for when you are packaging them. I'm able to peel the berry away from the cupcake liner. I also sliced into it and the caramel is still intact, but the berries are mushy of course. Although they held up longer than expected, I don't recommend doing this at home because they won't be fresh, but it's interesting to see how durable the homemade caramel was, nearly holding up for 20 hours versus 2 hours, keeping its shape with a harder shell, so homemade is the winner. As for the instructions, I would dip them right before pickup and instruct the customer to keep them in the fridge for up to 3 to 4 hours for maximum freshness and only take them out when ready to eat, similar to if you have an ice cream cake for a party. I hope you guys enjoyed this video and cracking the code to these caramel berries. It wouldn't have been possible without Preppy Kitchen's amazing caramel recipe. If you learned something new, give this video a thumbs up so other treat makers can find it too. It's Christina here. Thank you so much for watching and I'll see you in the next video.